One of the assumptions in our work here in Pakistan is that we must stay the course over time. Pakistani-American relationships are filled with fits and starts. Somebody gets impatient, somebody starts to mistrust, and unless we maintain the relationship over time, unless we continue to be engaged, then we fall sway to some of the forces that the media would have us believe about our two countries. And so we're here to say that we're in it for the long haul.
I came back to Pakistan because it's an amazing place, and it's full of a lot of surprises for people who really don't know this country. It's got tremendous depth, a great spirituality, critical thinking, people who are concerned about the world.
In these days and times, for the last decade, the idea of Pakistan conjures up all kinds of images in people's minds. I wanted to come to see firsthand what the people of Pakistan and Pakistan is.
It was a great learning experience for me. I have been listening, talking, asking questions, and learning from Pakistanis here, Christians as well as Muslims, of course, people who came in our delegation from all around the world. I have developed new friendships right there in the United States with the people. I don't know why I didn't know them for so long.
On this particular trip, it's the largest gathering of delegates from the U.S. that we've brought, not only from the U.S., but from 12 different countries around the world. So we decided to make this a more global, geopolitical kind of emphasis. And we've brought in this expertise from all over the world, and it's been a remarkable intersection, if you will, of perspectives from different parts of the world, from Australia and from Europe and from Pakistan, the Middle East, and of course North America. And so we've had an opportunity to really engage some of the broader issues around Islamophobia and around the future of Pakistani-American relationships. And this has been a remarkable way of engaging individual persons one-on-one around some of the great and broad issues that face us as societies. Given the fact that we have 10 ongoing programs, mostly based here in Pakistan, is indicative of the fact that we are building relationships and accomplishing work that is sustainable over time. And it is this sustainability that I'm so particularly excited about in terms of the work that UPIC is doing and the impact that we're having.
And one thing we did here was to visit the Wagah border between Pakistan and India. And it was a little bit like a football game. There were Indian cheerleaders on the Indian side, there were Pakistani cheerleaders on the Pakistani side.
There's all of the theater and the carnival and soldiers that do what I compared with early breakdancing on the streets of New York.
And they were getting people all riled up about their national narratives and national identities.
They're looking at each other with these penetrating eyes.
There was a deep tension, and at the same time, there was a sense of a ball game. And you had these powerful military giants, big people, stamping their feet and marching and showing their fists and showing that they're very tough to one another. And at the end, they shook hands.
What if we, in the US, were talking about a flag ceremony at the border between Canada and the US, or at the border between Mexico and the US, rather than a wall?
It was a wonderful expression of the seriousness and yet, in some ways, the kind of ridiculous truth that we're all humans, we're all brothers and sisters, and sometimes we fight, but we have to learn how to get along.
In 2016, UPIC lost one of its founding members and principal architects here in Pakistan, Professor Dr. Mumtaz Ahmed. While we were here on our 6th trip, we had occasion to visit Dr. Ahmed's grave. It was a profound experience. Prayers from a rabbi and an imam and a priest right at the graveside. This has never happened before in this part of the world.
Almighty and eternal God, hear our prayers for our brother Mumtaz.
This person, Mumtaz, whose gravesite I visited. He was an intellectual who supported interfaith movement. He brought people together and developed understanding among people. So anyone who brings two hearts together is a great person. Anyone who brings multiple hearts together is great in this world, and God Almighty would love that person.
For me to understand what's really going on in the world, I have to get out of my own little environment, and I have to see the world for what it is through other people's eyes as well as my own. It's not always easy to hear perspectives that seem to just completely demolish some of the assumptions that we've been living on for all our lives. But it's really important to do that, because that way we understand much better about what's really going on in the world around us.
Pakistani Muslims and Christians meeting with the American Muslims and American Christians and Buddhists and Jews and other people of faith help people understand that although they are from different countries, they feel the same. And I hope conference like this can develop into a movement in which people in this global village are not just connected through the electronic noise, but they're connected as a human being.
I am hopeful about what is possible when brothers and sisters are able to come together and reason together. And regardless of whether we call ourselves Muslims or Christians or Jews, we are brothers and sisters. And that's what I carry away in terms of the source of my hope.
One of the things I encountered here in Pakistan is very different opinions around topics, a common good and a common interest. We say in the Jewish tradition that these are differences for the sake of heaven, despite the fact that we have differences. In fact, because we have differences, we're able to engage in God's work. And that's really what it's all about.
Intersections was created for just such a time as this. We discover when we come here to Pakistan that people are acutely aware of what's going on in the US. So it's more important than ever that UPIC does this work, does it with a sense of urgency, does it with a sense of innovation, and also does it with a sense of interpersonal relationship, because that is where change really comes.